Let's talk about the Rangers' Game 1 win over the Carolina Hurricanes with Jonny Lazarus, host of the Daily Face-Off. Jay Lazzy, what's going on, my man? First and foremost, how you doing?
Well, it's nice to be here for round two with the Rangers and the Knicks also. The vibes are high in New York. You know that better than anyone. So it's always a blast to be on here with you, Brandon.
1994 vibes are what the streets are saying. You were up you were up at practice today, up in Terrytown. I was looking at your social media. I saw you posted a video of Blake Wheeler being on the ice. What are your thoughts on Wheeler being on the ice with his team? And what did you see at practice today?
Well, practice today was very intense. You know, you couldn't be able to tell whether it was practice in round two of the playoffs or a practice in October with how the Rangers were battling. But, yeah, like you said, seeing Blake Wheeler back on the ice first time since, around mid-February was very encouraging. He had a really ugly injury against the Montreal Canadiens, a few months back. And, whenever you get a chance to just have a player out there with the guys, it's always encouraging. I'm not saying that Blake Wheeler will probably be implemented into the lineup. That's a decision that will come later on if it comes to a certain point where there is an opportunity for that. But just seeing him out there smiling, being back on the ice with his teammates, I know the teammates are very happy to have him back. It's just good for the vibes, good for the mojo, and the Rangers have a lot of that right now after winning 5 straight games in the playoffs and being up 1-0 in the series.
All right, let's get into Game 1. Were you surprised at what felt like an NHL bye week with all the time they had off in between the games, that they were able to get off to a fast start? It was 3-1 after the first period.
Quite frankly, I was not surprised. Both teams had pretty much an equal amount of rest. I think the Rangers maybe had one extra day. So you think both teams have a pretty even level playing field, And for me, something that I brought up to Rod Brindamore and Peter Laviolette that hasn't really been talked about as much, the Carolina Hurricanes, it was their first time opening up a playoff series on the road since 2019. They've been so good in the regular season the last 5 years that every time they've been in the playoffs, for the majority, they've had the home ice advantage. So this was unfamiliar territory for the Hurricanes, and it showed early on in that game. The Rangers had all the momentum going. The home fans were on their side. The building was rocking. They score a goal in the opening 3 minutes. Carolina answers back quickly in 62 seconds. But the Rangers felt like they had all the mojo in the first period. They scored 2 power play goals in a 23-second span combined. And from there, they just kind of ran with the game and ran with that the atmosphere of the home fans, which was incredible, like I said before. So I wasn't really surprised. This is a homer versus a hater kind of playoff series when it comes to me specifically. The analytics love the Carolina Hurricanes. The team I've watched in the Rangers, to me, are more dangerous than Carolina. But, the Rangers are underdogs going into this one, and I think they have a bit of a chip on their shoulder from that, and it showed yesterday.
Well, you played the game, so I got to get your expertise on this. Molly Walker talked about the Rangers having competitive practices before Game 1. You saying they had a competitive practice after winning Game 1, going into Game 2. These are helping this team, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a team that's fully bought in. It's a culture that has totally shifted. The Rangers love competing. And I'm not saying they didn't in years past, but typically this time of year you see the practices being a little bit more optional, a little bit more maintenance. But Peter Laviolette knows how to ramp this group up. And I was talking to Adam Fox and Capo Caco about it today. There isn't a flip you can just switch, or a switch you can flip. I think I had that backwards. My bad.
Yeah.
I caught myself there, though. Snaps to me. But, I think this time of year, you talk about teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning and the regular season they've had, and then when the playoffs come, they turn it up. The Rangers don't want to have that vibe around them where they have to turn it up. They wanted to play that style of hockey from day one up until the last day of the season, which is hopefully going to be in mid-June. So, this team loves to battle. Zach Jones and Chris Kreider were going at it today. Jones hasn't even been in the lineup, and you see him have that competitive fire in him in a practice like that. And that also raises the intensity of a guy like Chris Kreider. They're here to push each other and to motivate each other, and it's not personal. This is a team that has one common goal in mind, and that's winning a Stanley Cup. And if this is the way they have to do it, it's the way they have to do it. So big credit to Peter Laviolette. I was talking to Dave Maloney as well. He's impressed with what Laviolette has been able to do and how he's instilled his personality within this group, and it's showing right now in the way they're playing.
Yep. Game 1, Mika Zibanejad was on fire. The playoffs bring the best and the worst out of a lot of guys. Playoff Mika has been one of the most dangerous threats in the NHL. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, yesterday was definitely Cinco de Mika, huh? With the 2 goals and the assist in the game. Listen, Mika Zibanejad is a guy that you look for. Some people are actually, you can say that the team goes as far as Mika goes. I've heard a lot of people say that. I'll shout out my roommate Holden. He's one to say that a lot. But Zibanejad, we saw it in the 2022 playoffs when he got hot. It just felt like the team was on his shoulders, and it's a scary sight for the NHL seeing Mika Zibanejad scoring goals because, he's a guy that's been a little bit streaky in his career. When he's hot, he's scorching hot, and when he's cold, it's noticeable. So it's a great sign for the Rangers that he scored 2 goals in Game 1, and hopefully he can carry that momentum through the rest of the series.
Scoring goals puts butts in the seats, but defense wins championships. How about that Rangers defense Game 1?
Yeah, I thought the blue line was very strong, but also a line that doesn't get enough credit would be the third line of Alex Wennberg, Capo Caco, and Will Cooley. Another player I spoke about with Capo Caco today was Alex Wennberg, who, in my opinion, had his best game as a Ranger yesterday. Capo Capo thought the same exact thing. He said that his chemistry with Wennberg has grown a ton, and he's a responsible 200-foot player that is so good in his own zone at shutting down the opponents, but also has a little bit of offensive flair as well. So, you can credit guys in the blue line like Fox, Miller, Trouba, Schneider, Gustafsson, and Lindgren as well. They played phenomenal. Igor Shesterkin shut the door as well. But, I was really impressed with the third and fourth line and how strong they were at shutting down the Carolina Hurricanes' depth players because, that was a big narrative going into this series too, is that Carolina's depth is stronger than the Rangers. But I'm not quite sure that I agree with that. I think the Rangers' third and fourth line have been huge for them thus far in the playoffs, and you got to credit guys like Wennberg for that success.
Throughout the course of the year, talking with you, our Molly Walker, our Larry Brooks, you guys have put an emphasis on the Rangers in terms of their power play and their penalty kill. How special was special teams in Game 1?
Special teams, special players, right, Brandon? You know that one, I imagine, right? The shout out to Sketch.
Absolutely, man.
That's what it's all about this time of year, though. I think at times the Rangers have been called power play merchants, and maybe their 5-on-5 play isn't as strong, but it's showing in the first round. The teams, all 8 teams that won the special teams in the first round series ended up winning that series. So, power plays, especially this time of year, we've seen so many Rangers teams in the past that have gotten far in the playoffs, but their power play gets quiet, and that is eventually what hinders them from, getting over the hump and winning. Yep. And, listen, if the Rangers power play has to carry them, so be it, because it's, in my opinion, one of, if not the most dangerous man advantages in the NHL. And if that's going to be their biggest strength, that's good to have in their back pocket.
Real quick, Game 2 is on Tuesday. Quick preview for Game 2. What do the Rangers got to do to skate out of there up 2-0?
Well, I expect Carolina to make a ton of adjustments on their PK. It's been pretty weak. I believe it's actually the second worst penalty kill right now in the entire playoffs. So I would think they're going to, try to limit the Rangers' puck movement on the power play. But if I'm the Rangers, maybe a few tweaks at 5-on-5. Carolina scored their second goal. Martin Necas, was able to squeak through Fox and Lindgren for a breakaway and the 5-on-5. And something they worked on today was tightening up the neutral zone. So against a team like Carolina, you want to lapse in the middle and not let them get through the middle of the ice with such ease like they did. But, from my perspective, the Rangers played as good of a game as I've seen them play all year. Obviously there are a couple of things that you can tweak, but I think if they bring the same exact effort and execution, they will be pretty successsul come Tuesday night.
Man, I'm ready to go play the NHL video game after this one.
Oh,
Jay
yeah.
Lazzy, tell the people they can find you.
Just Jay Lazzy 23 on Twitter. Do my morning show, Morning Cup of Hockey, 9 to 10 a.m. every day on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. We talk a lot of Rangers and a lot of NHL, so you can find me there. Brandon, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And we got another big one with the Knicks tonight, so I'm tuned into NBA, NHL. Capo Caco was fired up. He was telling me he's following the Knicks too. He was getting in on the defense chance in Game 5, Knicks Sixers. So it's cool to see the colliding of the two teams supporting one another.